And welcome back to the channel. Today is Wednesday and we're going to spend some time jumping back into the Kajabi system, showing you a really simple way to publish blog posts. So if you are an author and you're looking to do content marketing through more written mediums, then blogging is, the gold standard. And so there's a few different platforms that a lot of people use for blogging. Back in the day, I started on Blogger, like a lot of people did, and then moved to WordPress, again, like a lot of people did, learn that system. And the last few years, I've been using Kajabi, and I want to show you why I made that change. Again, I'm doing these Kajabi related videos every Wednesday because I want to show you how that all-in-one system works and why I think it's the right choice, especially for authors and other creatives who don't want to spend a ton of time on the technical side of their business. Like, they want their business to run basically on autopilot so that they can spend the majority of their time and effort on the creativity that drives everything else. And so that's my own thing. I'm a writer. I prefer to spend time being creative and world building and diving into research. And then when I am working on the business part, I want that to be easy. I want it to be streamlined. I don't want to learn a ton of integrations and all that. So all that being said, I want to show you how the blog post features work in Kajabi, some really basic elements about putting it together, getting the SEO parts right, and then I think we'll just kind of follow that path and see where it takes us. If you clicked on the video and you're like, hey, I thought this was going to be like more the theory behind constructing good blog posts or what those look like, I'm going to have a link to one of my favorite articles, which is by Neil Patel. He made this guide. It's got to be a few years old now. I've been using it for a while. That basically gives you like 10 points to follow to build a blog post that ranks well, that gets good feedback, that leads your readers and visitors to take action. So with all that said, let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to show you my computer screen right now. And the first thing we're going to pop up is I want to show you what my blog actually looks like on Kajabi. Let me make sure it's working correctly. Okay, so what you're seeing right now is basically if you hit my blog page, this is what you're going to see. Really clean navigation at the top. You see, like in another video I talked about the tabs you should have in your navigation. Right now you can see my library and like a little picture of me because I'm signed into my account. For people who aren't signed in, they have fewer options, so it's a little cleaner. First thing you see is a nice little header banner right here with articles, just letting people know where they are on my webpage. As we scroll down, you're going to see each blog post has a snippet. That's something that you can choose whether or not to do within Kajabi. To the right, I have my sidebar options. They're all pretty minimal. Again, you can do more with them. But the main thing I want people to do is either read the blog post or take a very clear step of action. So I have a search bar near the top, my short bio, some links to social media platforms, and two call to action buttons. Both of these lead to, the first one leads to a 28-day trial, which I'll have a link below to setting up your own Kajabi account, seeing how that works. And then the download your guide is specifically for authors, the author upgrade plan, which gives people 3 ideas or steps they can do to improve their website, regardless of what platform it's built on. And then below that, I have recent articles. So again, all very clean and clear. We're going to jump into this article as an example. So I step in and the sidebar is the same. The spacing is pretty much exactly the same on the main blog page as it is within a post. At the very top, you see my title, the tags underneath, which I'm still working on what tags I want to use on my website. And so you'll see those change over time. And then underneath it, I have text. You see the links turn up in blue like they do here. And so I'm going to show you how to create something like this in really a few minutes at tops. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump inside Kajabi, show you behind the scenes what that looks like. When you sign in and you have the 4 tab options on the right side or left side, and you click on the website tab. This is what it's going to look like. Now, before we go in and construct an actual blog post, I want to show you something that took me like a minute to figure out, more than a minute to figure out when I was first customizing my blog page and everything. I didn't understand that Kajabi actually separates it out for you so that you can customize your main blog page and then go in separately and customize what each individual post looks like. So let me show you what I mean here. So if we come over to the middle of the page, you're gonna see a bunch of different options. Here are some pre-built pages that Kajabi gives you. You can use them or not. We'll do a separate video in the future, specifically on building pages and what those look like. I actually had a really good question. Let me find the subscriber's name real quick. Her name was, I think, Susan or something like that. Anyways, so she had a great question about building pages, individual pages outside of Kajabi, and that's a really useful tool. I've done that a bunch because you don't always need to build a full pipeline to get the result that you want. So all that aside, we'll show you that in the future. But one thing to pay attention is that the last three options on this page are blog, blog post, and blog search. So these are actually three individual elements that Kajabi lets you customize. So we'll start from the bottom up because we're not going to do much with blog search. If you look at it, it's essentially just the search page. So when people use that search bar either on my homepage or on the right sidebar of my blog, this is where they're going to go. They're going to be able to search for something. And on the left here, you can see that I can customize what shows up, whether I want a header, if I want to change the text that shows up for their searches, if I want a pop-up to operate on this page. You can get pretty complicated. I don't use any of that stuff really because if someone's using my search function, chances are they have a pretty good idea of what they're looking for. And I don't want to interrupt that process. I want to make it as easy as it is for them to get to where they want to go or find whatever information they're looking for. So if it's the blog search option, we're going to go to the blog option now and hit customize. So basically, it's treating your blog homepage, like that separate starter page, as its own individual page element. So again, you can see on the left side, you have all these different options to customize it. So for example, my header, the navigation bar, you can make a custom one for your blog if you wanted different options to appear. The hero, that's the banner right here that says articles. I made that. You can add things within it. So like on the hero, I could add a call to action if I wanted another opt-in bar to be at the very top. The blog listing body and blog sidebar bar, if I go in, you can see this is where additional options come in. I chose to have them truncated at 200. I don't want the whole blog post to show up. I want people to be able to scan on the homepage to see what they might want to read. And I usually don't show the date. That's just a little pro tip right there because I want people to feel like all of the information I'm presenting is fairly recent or updated regularly. So if I have a blog post, that's a year or two old and I reshare it on social media, and then people interact with it, they're not going to be like, oh, this is from 2015. It's not relevant anymore. But if they don't see the date, then they're more likely to interact with it. Little side thing there. And then as you go down, let me show you the sidebar. There's two places you can customize a sidebar: on the main blog page where we're in, and then again in the blog post option. So if you ever need additional information on what you can do with your sidebar, feel free to ask me. But there's two places, again, here or in the individual blog post. You can see here, I have my options pretty minimal. Again, I'm not trying to clutter it too much. If I go to add content, you can see that there's fewer options than there would be on the home page. When I showed you in the video how to build a website, I showed that there was, I think, 26 different block options that you could use for your content. Here you can see that there's only 8 of them, and I like that. I think it encourages people to not go too crazy with their sidebar, which is something we all want to do because sometimes, there's something we want to add, but it doesn't necessarily add the type of value our readers are looking for. So don't go too crazy with that. As we scroll all the way down, you're going to see, you're going to see that I have the same footer as I do on my home page. Again, you can change these elements on individual pages if you want. If you want unique pop-ins or opt-ins, unique pop-ups, things like that, each page can either replicate what you've done on other pages, or you can make it completely its own thing. So with all that said, let me actually show you an example of what I mean. Let's go back to the main post. I just want to show you what I do on my books page. So if you go to ramosauthor.com/books, you can see that underneath my hero, I actually added an opt-in bar. This opt-in bar doesn't show up on any other page that I have. It's custom to this page. It's meant just for people who are interested in reading my books. And it's crazy effective. I think I started using this pop-in bar only 2 weeks ago, and I think 90%, it has a 90% conversion rate. If people come to the books page, 90% of them will join my email because of this little bar. So another little pro tip for you, have an opt-in or call to action on your books page because it'll be effective. I can't imagine having something like this on a book page where directly offers people value to what they're looking for. How can that not do well? That got me pumped up. So okay, we're back here and we covered the blog option and the blog search options. Now we're going to go to the blog post. Now, the blog post is basically, everything around the blog post. So this isn't where you create or write or publish the actual individual post. This is where you design everything around it. So again, you're going to see that you have the header option, you have the post body, which shows you similar options as before, the date, tags, so on. You have the sidebar option, which we customized on the main page. You can also customize it here. The main thing you should use this, portal for is I'm going to scroll to the very bottom of this blog post, and you are going to see a nice built-in call to action. This is actually done in your blog post body. You can see on the left side here that there is an opt-in tab. So that is where you construct, this guy right here. Obviously you can do a few things with it. You can use pictures. You can actually build in a more call to action, not just an email thing. So for a while, I had a really cool picture with some text and then a bright red button. It just didn't perform very well. So I, changed it, minimized it. Now it's literally 2 sentences, 1 sentence in header 2, and then another sentence, write in a simple call to action, opt-in box. And this one's actually doing pretty well. Not as well as the books opt-in page because, people tend to scan blog posts. They don't always get to the end of them. However, I think having something clear and simple like this is going to show, it's going to be effective over the long run. I don't have enough numbers to prove it yet, but my gut tells me it's going to be. And then underneath that, we have the space for comments. Now again, when you're using Kajabi, as with most platforms, you have an option between what comment tools you're going to use. You can either use their default one, which is a magnet for spam. If you've been on Blogger or WordPress, basically no one uses the default comment boxes because they don't have the same tools to block spam as some of the more robust ones. And that's why Kajabi makes it very easy to integrate things like Discus, which is what I use at the bottom here. If you want a separate tutorial of that on the future, I can do that. But again, it's really simple. You basically link, you press 2 buttons and then now you have Discus on your site. And that way the comments are going to be basically spam free. I don't think I've had a single spam comment in 18 months because first of all, I don't get thousands of comments. I only get like 2 or 3 per blog post, and those are actually like real people, not spam. So maybe I just need to get more comments before the spam happens. Okay, so all of that, again, I'm going to show you the website. So all of that can be done from the website and the design panel. That's where you have the 3 different options to customize everything that goes around your blog, all of the call to actions, opt-ins, all of that. Now, when we're talking about the individual blog posts that you're going to be writing and publishing, that comes here. So underneath the website tab, still on the left-hand side, you're going to go down to the 3rd option. And now you're going to see a nice little simple blog post template thing. So if you've created content online before, you know what these systems tend to look like. Sometimes they can get a little cluttered with all the different options and editing options that you have. Most of that is dialed down within Kajabi. You can see that next to each individual blog post, like on this line right here, we have a little edit button. So when you click that, that will open up the page for you, and most of the options that you need are right built in here. Let me get out of that one. And so let me show you the setting tab. So at the very top here, I highlighted in blue underneath blog posts, there's settings. So we're going to click that, and they make it very simple. Here is the overall SEO input that you want to make for your blog. I've played with this a few different ways. I'm still learning how to do this best. But basically, you're naming your blog. What do you want to show up on Google when people search for blog / your URL? A description. This is where you want to use a few keywords to help people, give Google an idea, first of all, of what you're going to be writing about, and then also people, what are they going to expect when they come to your blog? And then a simple image. Pro tip, for this image, but any image that you're using on your blogs, make sure you rename them to include keywords related to either your blog, your website, or your individual blog post. Don't just download a website or a picture that has a bunch of random letters and words or numbers and then upload that to your blog post, because that's not going to add any value. Like the picture will look good, but as far as searchability, as far as building your authority within your niche, make sure you take that additional extra few seconds to rename the pictures that you're uploading so that they add to what you're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and show you, we were talking about, let me get out of here. We were talking about Author Branding 101, this post. So I want to show you what that post looks like behind the scenes. So we're going to click on it. And again, this is what behind the scenes looks like. So at the very top here, you have the option to upload a video. Kajabi, a lot of the creators on Kajabi like video, and so they've made that easy to do. So you're not jumping through hoops to try to find how to integrate video into the content that you're already creating. So again, video is right at the top. On the right hand side, also on the top here, you see visibility. So this is your publishing schedule. So you can see that I published it on April 14th at 9 a.m. Below that, if you want to schedule the post, that is what you would choose. You choose set a specific publishing date, and that way you can go in, use their calendar, find a date, and set it. Below that is the blog image. And so again, this is one of the images you want to make sure you name in accordance with the title of your blog post that it's going to be. So that way when Google is reading through your content, they're seeing that you're just hitting the marks right. All right, and we'll stay on the right hand side. And if you look below that is an organization box. So this is where you're going to add in the different tags that you're using. Again, I am still learning how to use tags best for what I want to accomplish with my blog and website. I know 2 is not enough, so you should fill that out a little bit more. Okay, come back to the left side, and we're going to scroll down. Right in the middle here, you see post details. So this is where the bulk of your blog post creation is going to take place. At the very top here, you have the title, you add that in, and then below that you have the content box. Now, the box they give you is small on purpose so that you can click the button and make it full screen, and now you can actually type in and edit it the way you would on any other word processor. All right. If you're familiar already with creating blog content or other written content online, like on the blogging platforms or on things like Facebook or LinkedIn, then you already know what many of these options do. Again, you have the different headings, text features, the different blocks you can use within it, such as quotes or not, and then alignment, just shifting your content around to look best online. As you can see here, I have a few different things going on, bolding, some links. I have Grammarly built in, so that's why it highlights things sometimes. That's not a Kajabi feature, that's Grammarly. As we go down, you can see I just use simple spacing, really basic, makes it very easy to do. And then, so that's what it looks like inside. So I'll shrink it back down. And then below that, we have another space for SEO, this time specific to your blog post. So again, you customize the URL. This is very important so that the keyword you're hoping to land for, whether it's in your title and your post, you want to use that in your URL. Again, just telling Google what you're writing about, what you're an authority on. Below that, your page title. So you can see that your page title that shows up can be different than what your actual blog post is. So when people Google this article or this topic, they're going to see Author Branding 101 and the description that I input here. And if I'm sharing on social media or things like that, this is the image they're going to see. If you scroll up, you see that once you click on the actual blog post title, or if you scroll directly from my blog page, you actually get a longer title, Author Branding 101, a guide for beginners. That's another feature I'm playing with. I'm reading different things in SEO to kind of learn what works best. But again, you have that option with Kajabi. Learn what the best practices are and then experiment to see what works best for you and your audience. So we're going to go ahead and preview again what that looks like. So you see, it's very clean. When I read things online, I'm like most people, I read 80% of everything on my phone. And so if your website isn't mobile optimized in 2020, you need to drop whatever platform or template you're using and get a different one, because most of everything is happening on phones these days. And if your if your blog or writing or website isn't just as beautiful, just as effective on a phone as it is on a desktop, then you're doing yourself you're easily losing 80% of the business, 80% of the readers, 80% of the community that you could be building. All right, scrolling down, you can see what we built. I like that, similar to other drag and drop features that we've seen, what you're creating inside of the Kajabi blog post is what it's going to look like once it's published. You don't have to kind of guess at, okay, what is this color going to look like? How big is the spacing going to be? What does a header tag actually look like once it's published versus within the building system? That's just a pet peeve of mine when I have to jump back and forth 1,000 times between previewing a blog post and actually writing the blog post. I just want to see what it looks like as I'm creating it. That way I know, okay, that's too big, or that's too small, or that's not bold enough. So again, just scrolling down, you can see it's very clean. I didn't use a lot of pictures in this blog post because I was on a deadline with it, and I was like, I just want to get the text out. But that is something I will be doing better in the future as I work on my blogging chops. And then again, as we scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see what we talked about before. A nice, clean, simple call to action, a big, bright discussion box. I always put a separate call to action at the bottom here. Remember to comment. I want people to interact with the content that I'm producing. And so that's literally how you write a blog post. the behind the scenes of how you design your blog page, how you put together a sidebar and then go in and make your blog post everything that you want it to be. Very simple. But it's a question I've gotten a few times, so I wanted to just go in and show you what that actually looks like. So let me check what we're going to talk about next week in case you're curious. We're going to do a little bit more on the email marketing part of Kajabi. So again, I've used over the years, goodness, how many? I've used a few. So like MailChimp, ConvertKit, Kartra, trying to think, I know there's another one, maybe like Constant Contact when I was, working jobs with people or like freelancing more. But anyways, so I've used like almost half a dozen different email providers over the years. And there's pros and cons with each. Some of them are very user-friendly but don't have tons of features. Some of them could do anything you imagine, but they're a pain in the butt to use. I feel like Kajabi is like nicely tucked away in the middle. It has tons of options, but it's definitely on the more user-friendly side of things. So we're going to be talking about that, how to create emails within Kajabi, how to use their marketing system, and just what that actually looks like. So if you are paying for ConvertKit, if you're paying for MailChimp and you're not getting what you want out of it, or you realize, hey, I'm paying for 18 different tools, why don't I just go get one that's all in one? That's what I'm going to talk about. So thank you again for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. If you have questions related to blogging on Kajabi or just blogging in general for authors, like how do you marry those two mediums, feel free to leave me a comment. I make these videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I have a pretty cool one coming out this Friday. It'll be a little bit different than what we've done, but I think it'll be useful for people in the long run. So thank you again. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do that. Any of the links I talked about in this video and some other really cool ones are in the description below. And I will talk to you next time. All right, bye.